Hello, folks. I'm Joe Wesley, and that handsome guy to, I guess, my left is. Yeah, let's not get carried away. It's already getting off to a rough start. Devon Harris, thank you very much for joining. And for those who, first off, why are we doing this? Well, there's a mission that we're doing collectively, Devon and myself and a team of other people, that we believe in the value of athletes, Olympic level, that we underutilize, we underappreciate. And Devon being an Olympian, three-time Olympian, if I recall correctly, yes, two times as captain of the bobsledding team, should know a little bit about the concept of it. So we're going to develop a storyline, not by lecture, by show and tell. And so it's a 15-minute program, commercial break, by the way. If you do view us now or later, you can look at us through LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook. Please leave comments, provide questions, even if it's on the rerun side of it. We do audit those statements, and we'd love to get back to you and maybe answer some things. But we'll be doing this every 2 weeks so far, likely every week eventually, and share stories of the mindset of high-level athletes, because I believe they live a COVID-19 lifestyle every day and still excel. And I think those of us who maybe aren't up to snuff in the real world of business and whatnot, and their world is also very real, we can learn a lot from them. So we start a little bit early just to get the commercial side out the way, but remember to like us, or unlike with a reason, to subscribe and to share our program with anybody you can think of. And if you want to keep an announcement coming to you, click the little bell that goes with it that will announce when the next one's coming up. But that being said, we're going to start I'm going to start by asking Devon a question. Born in Jamaica, West Indies, yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
The really nice Jamaican, not the one in Queens.
Fair enough. I got to say West Indies because the New Yorkers will think Jamaica, New York or something.
No,
So I want to be clear about that.
nice one.
Having said that, it's my understanding is outside of the U.S., outside the States, we call football the 12 guys on either side, and however that works, the 11 guys. But many countries don't necessarily have the resources of equipment and space and things of that nature. So soccer is the most popular sport in the world, if I have that correct.
Yeah, well, actually, the rest of the world does call it football. It's only in America, North America, that they call the world sport.
Yeah, so he's trying to be diplomatic about it. I get the syndrome here.
Yeah.
So that being
The
said,
beautiful game is called soccer.
I hear that.
Not,
With soccer or football, you need basically two goal posts and a ball, and you're set to
a
go.
round one that you actually kick, not throw.
That too, that's a critical part of it to make the distinction. So one time you grew up playing soccer, yes?
Yeah, soccer was football was my first love, and
Okay.
sport. Just that's easy to play.
Okay, I hear that. So, but at some point you changed to a different sport, and I'd like to know why you made that change from
Yeah,
football to track and field. Yes.
a couple of different reasons actually. So I grew up, playing soccer, and I played barefooted, and I
Excuse me,
ran.
were you any good at it? I got to ask the question.
Well, you could ask my friends from elementary school and high school. So at the time, the greatest player in the world was a guy from Brazil, Edson Arantes do Nascimento, Pele.
Okay.
My friends
Yes.
call me Pele.
Really?
No,
That good?
no. Look. I was not as good as Pele.
Okay.
Never. I don't think I was even on track.
Maybe it was the skin color that did it.
No, I could. I describe it as I could twirl the ball a little bit. I had some skills.
Okay, good. Okay.
Enough to impress my friends.
Well,
Um,
that's a very good compliment. That's a very nice
So,
compliment.
I played, and I hated losing, and I hated the idea of playing a game and playing your heart out, and then you have one guy, maybe two, who didn't play hard, and it's because of their lackadaisical effort that you lost.
Okay.
So that's one of the reasons why I switched to track, because when you run, man, if you lose, it's your fault.
Yeah,
So the idea of taking responsibility for the effort and the outcome.
I hear that. And so
Don't
I
know
understand.
how
I
to
understand.
describe it that way, but that's the road that I took.
I hear that. Understand you hate losing, and that is a part of it. Now, I just also, for those who are watching us, I just got notification that streaming in LinkedIn is not showing up. So you're not being able to view it on that at some date in the future, at least short term. It's not your fault. It's the system, and they say they're working on it. That being said, well, sorry for that. I'm having some technical issues. I've resolved it on this end. That being said, so you chose to go into track and field because that was were there other options, or was that the next sport to go to if you were going to move away from football?
I guess there was always cricket that I played cricket, but that that didn't draw me as much.
Okay.
That little ball goes way too fast for my liking,
I hear that.
So it was kind of like track and football were football first, and track were my loves, and then I went to, and then when I went to track, in the same spirit of not liking to lose, I couldn't win any other sprints, man.
It's interesting. Now, before we go that far with it, I remember you telling me in prior conversation you didn't show up the first day of your track beginning, yes?
Oh, yeah. So in high school, when I decided I was going to join the track team, so that's ninth grade, yeah. That's when I started training seriously. I don't remember why, man, but I missed the first day of training, and I was so worried that the coach would have thought that, I wasn't serious about being on the team. And I'm like, oh my God, I wonder what I missed. I'm going to be far behind everybody else. And, so I turned up the next day sheepishly, and he said nothing. I just started training. And what was surprising was, maybe in the first month, first 6 weeks, other kids just started to drop out. They just kind of disappeared. And to be honest, by my second year of track, my school had one athlete on the track team, me.
You.
We didn't even have a coach then, and I was coaching myself. So yeah, it's kind of a crazy,
and people may have missed what he just said, that even the coach quit the team and you ended up coaching yourself as part of the program. And I emphasize that because that's commitment to himself. And from the start of he missed the first day, at this point irrelevant, but concerned about having missed it and afraid that he might somehow be cut loose perhaps, or be scolded for it, but stuck with it and got better at it. And as a result, the fact that you became your own coach, just a lot of commitment behind that. Now, we talk about taking ownership.
Yeah.
And now, to put it in perspective, any number of people, those who quit in their minds probably had good reason to quit. And somehow it didn't stick on you, that for whatever they were not doing or chose to do for, in their world, justifiable causes, it didn't make enough sense to you to go in that direction. Yeah. And what I know of you now, if anything, you probably doubled down. And what was that? I won't talk in your terms. You're here. Let me ask you the question. What was your mindset?
As you're talking about that, I'm thinking about all the people who have this New Year's resolution to go to the gym and get fit, right? And then by January 15th, like 60% of them have given up on those resolutions, right?
Right.
Not to get fit or whatever. And so, people lack that stick-to-itiveness, that ability, to use my phrase, to keep on pushing, because they start out all excited and enthusiastic about the goal, and it seems so good. But once you start doing the work, man, you're like, ooh, it's not always fun, but you have to make yourself find a way to love it.
Okay.
And so as I think back to, those early days of my track training, that was symptomatic of what happened generally in life, where, people get all excited, and only those who are truly committed to that goal that they set for themselves. And so I had a goal of making a team and doing really well. And so, I just kept running while other people were just kind of stopped and, standing on the side watching.
Okay.
And that's the thing that distinguishes successful people in every walk of life.
I hear that. And some people may not know that you're also a motivational coach, among other things. And I bring that up because when you talk about a mindset that you're going to keep working at it, is there a technique that, and I'm not asking for a freebie, I'm asking for here, is this maybe what item one can do?
No, I think, I don't know if it's a technique so much as it is I almost use the word mindset, an attitude, a level of commitment. When you set a goal for yourself, man, You have to be unwilling to do without it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Okay.
if you think about the reason why you set a goal is because in whatever area of your life is because there's that area of your life isn't working. It's not to your liking.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're like, I won't like my situation. I like my finances to be better, let's say.
Okay.
Um, and so, but it requires some effort and some discomfort to get your finances to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you have a choice of going back to what it was before, a state of affairs you disliked, or you can go through the dislike, the discomfort. You may dislike the discomfort, but if you go through that for a short period of time, you get to a better place, that place that you wanted. Um, I am unwilling to go back. So
Okay.
I will, you know, endure the discomfort to get that which I want.
I hear that. Now, he says for a short period of time. I'm going to put it in perspective here, folks. I'm a biology major. So I have a sense of how the body works and physiology and things of that manner. When I watch, I hate exercising. I'll be the first one to say that. And when I watch TV commercials, I watch TV commercials of people exercising and they're grinning. Now, I know in theory that represents the endorphin release in the air and it's permeating the environment, it's absorbing in your skin, you're getting your euphoria. It does not happen to me. I don't
Mm.
get it.
It does not happen to me. I am not grinning when I'm exercising. I
Maybe,
might, I might be
I was
grimacing.
going to say, grimacing might be more the word for it rather than grinning. You're right about that. But I made a decision at one point that if I want to be a hunk, this is what I got to go through.
Ooh, listen to you.
Yeah, well, sense of humor. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. See, this is, folks. You gotta make comments because I need help with this guy. He's good at what he does. I'm firing all my four cylinders here to just keep up to him. So feel free to leave comments, ask suggestions, and things of that nature. So the question I have behind that, though, it's easy to say, well, just set your mind to do it. It doesn't come that easy necessarily for a guy that hates exercising, whether I want to be a hunk or not. And that's you make the drop off about people who sign up for the exercise things at the beginning of the year and they fall away. So
Mhm.
what triggered you not to fall away? You've said it, but maybe say it maybe a little bit differently to not give up on yourself, even
Mhm.
when the coach quit for all I'm sure good reasons.
I
And
think it's that D word though, Joe, that, discipline. So, and
okay,
discipline is really, it's not that you're born with discipline. Nobody's born disciplined.
hmm,
Discipline. The discipline is about doing the thing that you really don't want to do. You make yourself do it. So
okay.
when people see athletes at the Olympic Games or pro athletes, you know, I think people assume that, oh, they so love what they do that they can't wait to roll out of bed.
Right,
And
or the DNA enhanced, but born with the
yeah,
genes or
I mean,
something.
no, we don't always feel like getting up and going to the track or
Hmm.
going to the gym or doing that. And every athlete will tell you about those days when they wake up and they know it's going to be a really hard workout today. It's like,
Hmm.
oh my God, I don't really want to do it, but you go do it. You
Okay.
and what's interesting is that, like you talk about the endorphins. In our case, the once you get started, the endorphins start to flow, and you just do it, and you feel good.
Well, that stuff
But
actually works.
you have to make yourself get started.
Okay, I get that. And in discipline, and again, it's about taking ownership again. And then, folks, this
Mhm.
is important because I'm in business also offering services, and I find that many business owners are challenged by consistency. They're challenged by that discipline factor, and oftentimes will quit on themselves before it should have happened. And as a
Mhm.
result, they cheat themselves of success they may have had. And so that's why we believe that Olympic level athletes represent a role model that we might better be able to utilize because, and I use the example, and we'll talk more about this, even last year during the Summer Olympics, up until 2 months before, the Japanese prime minister was still against it, and the IOC was still very much for it. And the athletes had doubts 2 months before whether it's going to still happen or not.
Mhm.
And the same thing for the Winter Olympics. But I think you told me that there were more track and field records set with all that doubt on the table than in the history of the sport, yes?
Yeah, I mean, people, and if you can imagine, it has to be one of the most difficult things to do mentally. We're training, preparing for an event, preparing for that sales call that you don't know is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, But what we know as athletes is that you cannot wait until you know for sure that the Olympics are going to happen to start training. Kind of late, right?
Right.
You're going to like, oh, 1 week before, yeah, the Olympics are on. Oh my God, I better run to the gym now. No, you have to train with the expectation that
Mm-hmm.
is, you have to prepare for the
Okay.
exam, the sales call, or the interview with the expectation it's going to happen on schedule. And when it's better to be prepared and it not happen than to not be prepared and it happens.
Yeah, I won't argue that. And next, what we try to do now, increasingly, this is our second one we've done, folks. So we're a little bit raw at this. But one of the things that may be a topic for next time around to tweak your interest is if you muck up. And what I say is there's nothing more public than an athlete that misses whatever. They fall on the field, they miss the tumble, they miss the beam, they knock the high bar down, they're trying to vault over it. And so, how does one recover from that? And you kind of alluded to that. Perhaps our next session, you can talk more about
Sure.
that mindset that goes in that direction.
Failure, baby, it's going to come, it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it happens on the biggest stage or your biggest stage, whatever that is.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for that. I hope, folks, you've enjoyed this session. I hope he made some sense to you. Maybe I made a lot of sense. Who's to say that? But it's not really about me. It's about Devon and what he brings to the table and our mission. We'll talk more about that in the future. Share your questions, share your comments, share us with other people. We will be doing this every 2 weeks, Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Yes?
Indeed, indeed.
If you want to hear more frequently, holler out. We'd be more than happy to oblige that. Thanks for visiting.